Hey guys, it's Tony. Welcome back, and it is almost football season. Preseason games are going on, and football is a core piece of my collection. I know recently I show a lot of baseball stuff, vintage baseball stuff, but ultimately the core of my collection, where I started off back in 1986 or 87, was football. I could tell you every statistic, team name, history, Hall of Famer there was for football because I just love that so much. I knew baseball, but football is what I watched every Sunday. My parents bought me history books. I had research history of football and just my favorite sport. So today I want to show off two football cards I've picked up recently. They're the same player, but they relate to a player from my favorite team, the Chicago Bears. And the first card is actually from the first earliest mass distributed football set, 1935 National Chicle. And this player has one card in that set. And no, it's not Bronko Nagurski. I don't have that card, nor will I probably ever have that card given how expensive that is. But he's a Bear. He also has a card in the 1955 Topps All-American set. And he has a distinction in NFL history of being the first rusher to gain 1,000 yards in a season in the mid-1930s. So without further ado, I'll turn the camera around. I'll show you the player and the two cards and talk a bit about his career and some more interesting stats about him. So stay tuned. Okay, and we're back. So let's talk about a couple football cards here. First off, we're talking about the 1935 National Chicle football card set. It was produced by Gum Company, based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Same company that produced the Diamond Star sets, baseball card sets of the 1930s, and Batter Up cards. The Art Deco design on these is very similar to the Diamond Star set, and here's the card in question. It is Beattie Feathers, running back with the Chicago Bears in the 1930s. This was the first nationally released set to feature only football players. Now, the 1933, I think it was, Sport King set had a few players in it too. Jim Thorpe and I think Newt Rockne maybe were the only two. But it also had players from baseball, swimming, and other sports as well. But 1935 had the first solo set to feature only football players. It was only 36 cards long. The first 24 cards were more common. The last 12 are a little bit more expensive and I think potentially shorter printed. This card is number 23. You can see the back of it here. Football Stars, number 23 talks about Beattie Feathers, a 1933 All-American from Tennessee. Gives a little bit of background about him, what he does, how he carries the ball. And then a bit at the bottom about him, where he went to school, height, weight, home, Bristol, Virginia. And at the bottom, it says one of 240 football players with playing tips. Now, only 36 cards were issued. So I believe the story is that they meant to issue more and just never got around to it. I'm going to link to a video that Orlando at A Collector's Dream put out 3-4 months ago where he was interviewing someone who was really knowledgeable about this set. I think they talk about this unique factor on the back here. So I'll link to that, to Orlando's video. Make sure to check that out too if you haven't already done so. He talks a lot about each card in the set and a bit more about the player and the set itself. I love having these cards, any card, right, being in raw condition, not graded. You can just see how thick the card is. It's very sturdy. You can feel it. Feel for the creases, feel for the surface, what it feels like. But a nice, thick, sturdy card here. Got this off of eBay a few months ago. Happy with the deal. In that 36 card set, there are 4 Bears players. And Feathers is number 23, so he's in that first 24 more quote-unquote common issues. But 3 of the other 4 Bears are in the last 12, which make them a lot more expensive. And one of those last 12 cards, being a Bear player, is Hall of Famer Bronko Nagurski, who arguably may have the most expensive football card out there. His issue from this set in 1935. The 2 other Bears I'd love to pick up at some point. They aren't Hall of Famers, just like Beattie Feathers isn't a Hall of Famer. But they are Bears in the set. They're not crazy expensive, and I do love the design in the back. The front of the card, the design in the front, the background, and the backs as well. So this is Beattie Feathers. So a little bit more about him. He played running back from 1934 to 1940, mostly with the Bears, but also played with a few other teams the last few years of his career. In the first year, 1934, he rushed for 1,004 yards in 11 games. He had an 8.4 yard per carry average, and this, I believe, was still an NFL record for a player who has at least 100 carries, almost 100 years later. He was the first player to rush for more than 1,000 yards in a season. He had 8 touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown in that year. After that, his yearly rushing amounts didn't really go above 400 yards for the rest of his career, and the majority of his stats were from 1934 to 1937. He also had a passing statistic. Given the varying roles that the players played back then, he threw 2 touchdowns in 1934 with a 4 out of 12 passing completions to attempts. But that's just the way the NFL was back in the 1930s. Like I said, he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he was part of the 1930s All-Decade team for the NFL, and he was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame in 1955. So that takes me to Beattie Feathers' second card that I have. So I'll put that one right here for right now and move that to the side. The second card I picked up, this was just came in the mail a couple days ago. Speaking of 1955, this is 1955 Topps All-American card. These were some of the first Topps cards produced for football players, and these were produced in 1955. The set features 100 cards, and most, if not all, generally showed retired or ex-football players who were in their college uniforms with their college logo up here at the top. A few players, at least one, were still playing in the NFL when these came out, but most of them had just retired or retired many years ago, like Red Grange with the Bears or Beattie Feathers with the Bears as well. You can see the back of the card too. Nice, colorful blue. Talks about his career at Tennessee as a running back, right? And again, shows him in what looks to be the Tennessee orange there of his jersey, the nice leather helmet, the volunteer logo in the top left, and again, a nice, crisp, clear, again, very solid card, no real issues with it. And love picking this up for my second Beattie Feathers card here too. So prior to the NFL, he also played college basketball for Tennessee. And after he retired in the 1940s, he later coached football and college baseball. So those are my 2 football cards for Beattie Feathers. He doesn't have a lot. I think these may be the only 2 main issues for him. But again, this is my first 1935 National Chicle card. Love to pick up the other 2 out of the 3 Bears that are more affordable, but love the set, love the sturdy cardstock, the picture in the back, and learning more about those early NFL players who you passed, you punted, you ran, you did whatever was needed. Didn't have a long career, most of these guys, but this guy in particular had that first 1,000-yard year as a rusher, so pretty cool back in 1934. Doing math in my head right now, 91 years ago. So pretty cool there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking to it through some football here. Hope you enjoy the football season coming up. And I'll be back with another video coming up soon. So take care, guys. Thanks.